I'm
All right. How's everybody doing this evening?
We're good. How are you doing?
Doing great. We'll go ahead and get this meeting started. I'll call the Plan Commission meeting for April the 22nd at 5:30 p.m. to order. This is a virtual meeting. Chad, is it Act 81? Is that correct?
Pardon?
Is it Act 81 that we're under? Is it 78?
78.
78. Under Act 78, we do have the authority to have electronic meetings. We have met the burden of proof to let everybody know that we're here. Please mute your device if you're not speaking. When you get ready to say something, please state your name to make it easier for Ms. Teresa to take the minutes. With that being said, I will say this. There is about a 50-50 chance that we will be in person next month. There's a 100% chance, I believe, that we'll be in person a month after that. But we are redoing our meeting room, and we are getting closer to that. So we will be doing in-person meetings again fairly soon, and you will be given plenty of notice of that in the upcoming future. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
so moved. It's Billy.
Have a motion to have a second.
I'm Growler, second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Ms. Teresa.
Okay, I'm on it. I'm just trying to figure out who all is here so I can make sure I'm getting everybody. So I don't see Shane and I don't see
No Shane, no Jeff.
no Shane, no Jeff. Okay, Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thedford,
Yes.
myself, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Arnold, did you say you were sitting on the side of the road? Arnold Boynton.
Yeah. Yes, I couldn't get the phone unmuted.
Are you
It's
sitting
a
on the side
miracle I
of the road?
didn't. Do what?
Are you sitting on the side of the road?
No, I'm sitting in a car in the parking lot.
Okay. Since you're sitting in a car and the rest of us are pretty comfortable, I'm going to twist this around just a little bit. We're going to do yours first, sir.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Ferland Daniel, final plat, Boynton surveying. Chad?
Okay, let me get that one up for you. Okay, here we go. So on this one, there is a variance to consider, and Arnold can tell you more about it, but there are a couple of driveways that serve this. They're actually side by side. So one of those is staying outside of this, but that is why the lot is narrow at the point that it is. And I don't have the exact measurements on this one, but the lot narrows down to less than 100 feet. It's actually 90 some odd feet along the road, and it's less than 100 at this point here. But the driveway follows along on this side of the property right here. Also, I'd made mention on here about showing the existing septic system, which he has done. And then there was a notation here that since this is new to everybody, that you can go down to 25 feet with it being on a county road. So Arnold has submitted the revised plat, and they've already started getting signatures on the plat. They're still missing the 911, and we talked about that this morning, so they're going to get Shane's signature on that one. So the first thing to consider on this plat is a variance for the lot width. Arnold's at what is it approximately there where the house is, about 90 some odd feet?
I'm thinking it's either 95 or 99. I drove off and left the plat at home.
Yeah, so
I believe it's 95 feet, but it's
okay,
not.
so we're close at that
100.
point anyway.
What they did was the driveways come in right there, not quite a common entrance, but they wide off real quick. And it's really wide, but then it goes to two narrow driveways. And actually the pin in the back is in the center of that driveway. But Mr. Daniel's not worried about it because he owns, I don't know, 70 or 80 acres around it. I think, what is it, 68 remaining, Chad?
Let's see, yeah, 68.53.
He's got a big piece of property, and he's letting this house go to somebody who grew up in it. I didn't know all that, but we actually set that back pen in the center of the road, so the house would be 10 feet off the property line, so they wouldn't have a variance on the setbacks back there on that. And I just honestly forgot about the 100 feet, or I would have added a little. It would have been a hair a lot wider. It probably is over 100 feet at the setback line.
All right, so Chad, so this needs a variance for the under 100 feet, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct for the width.
You recommend to staff for signatures with a variance?
Yes.
Chair will entertain a motion to refer to staff with a variance for 95 feet and refer to staff for signature.
Motion to approve by Tommy Snyder.
I've got a motion to have a second.
Billy, I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, ma'am.
Keep forgetting to unmute myself. Okay, refer to staff for variance of 95 feet and signatures.
Yes, ma'am.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thedford,
Yes.
myself, yes.
All right, next one, Mr. Arnold, that was the only one you had, correct?
That is.
All right, thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm going to hang up and continue toward the house.
Yeah, yes, sir. Next
If you
item
need
on the
anything
agenda-
else, Chad has my number.
Yes, sir.
Y'all
Next
have a good day.
Next item on the agenda is Whites Creek Lot 14 through 16 replat, final plat, Roan land surveying. Chad?
Okay, and we have, I believe we have the surveyor on the line too. A few things to note on this plat. You can see the notations there, building setbacks. There are a couple of variances to consider. There's no other way around that because of the location of the homes. They're actually getting rid of a lot line there between that on that large lot on the north side there, and then they're changing some boundaries around right there because the old lot line actually cut through the carport. So there's really no way, no matter where you put the line, you're going to be looking at variances on either side. Also, there was a notation here about the front building setbacks being allowed to be 25 feet. So this is the revised copy that has been submitted. All of those corrections have been made. We do have the notations on here now of the distances we'll be considering variances for. So on that north side, it ranges from 6.3 feet off the property line to 7.2. So we'll really be talking about the 6.3 instead of a 10-foot side setback. And then on the carport at the narrowest point, it's actually 0.8 feet off. Is that, no, that's the wrong line here. Jimmy, you're on here. Which one is the distance right here? Is that 0.8?
0.8 is that
Okay.
front right carport.
Okay, I was a little confused there because I saw this little line leading off from
Yeah.
it. So
I think that's the,
And they kind of just built whatever they wanted, wherever they wanted on that one, didn't they?
they did, those structures have been around since the, I'm going to say mid to late 60s. Mr. Mans there owns all 3 lots, and he's going to convey to his stepdaughter, I believe, the as you're looking at it is the structure on the right. And a lot of this lot line configuration, there's about a 6-foot chain link fence that is following the new center property line on all points except right there where you can see it behind the carport, and he's going to change that fence line. So, you know, that's kind of what they wanted, and, you know, we'll just go from there. Now, I will say on that carport, It is a structure that is comprised of 4 6x6 posts and almost a flat tin roof. So it's not I guess it's a permanent structure, but it's not a stick built type, setup. It's not real nice, I guess.
All right, so we're looking for 2 variances and everything else is okay, correct, Chad?
Yes, then we're just subject to signatures on everything else. They've actually started getting, well, actually this one looks like this one had all of them except yours.
All right. Chair will entertain a motion to refer to staff for signatures with a variance of, Chad, you said it was, roll that back up so I can read this out for Teresa. With a variance of 6.3 feet on lot 14R and a 0.8 feet on lot 16R.
So moved, Tommy Ballard.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Billy.
Tommy Snyder.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? Seeing none, Miss Teresa, when you get ready, roll call vote, ma'am. I know that was lots of type.
Okay, and in between all of that, I have a sick dog, and I'm like,
Oh,
all right, Jim Reed,
yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thetford,
Yes.
myself, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's see. Next item is, let me scroll back up. Cedar Creek Lot 6 Patio Home Final Plat, RGM Land Surveying.
And we have the surveyor on with us to represent this plat. I did not receive a corrected one. There's nothing wrong with the layout of the lot itself. This being the final plat, it matches what they had on the preliminary. It met all the requirements for setbacks and size of the lot. There's just some notations here that do need to be corrected, and that's the setbacks that were listed. Some of those were incorrect and were based off of townhomes rather than patio homes. So I've made those notations there. So the final plat needs to be corrected to say the side yard is 6 feet and a minimum building separation of 12 feet. And the minimum lot width is 36 feet with a minimum area of 3,600 square feet. And then it would be,
Chad,
sir?
Forgive me, I did make those corrections before I had these copies made and signatures that I've got. So I did make those corrections. I will get you a PDF copy of that.
Okay, well, that was the only thing that needed to be changed on this. So those being made on the final copy that he said, then it would just be referred to staff for signatures.
All right, Chair will entertain a motion to refer to staff for signatures.
So moved, Tommy Snyder.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Tommy Ballard.
I have a motion and a second. And Chad, when you receive that corrected plat, will you let myself or Miss Teresa know,
Sure.
please? Let's see. Probably Miss Teresa will sign that one. So just let Miss Teresa know.
Okay.
And any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, ma'am.
Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thetford.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Myself, yes.
Next item, number 4, Scott Talent HD Dillard Final Plat Meter Subdivision, or excuse me, Meter Survey.
And we have the surveyor Christian Metters on, but we also have the Talents on representing their plat as well. So there are a few corrections noted on the plat. Rather than just going over all of those, I'll just go ahead and tell you those were made. This is the final plat here. You'll notice there is a shed that is just outside the setbacks. I didn't note that on the original because I didn't have the measurements on here to be sure, but there's a pole barn and 2 sheds that are outside on the side yard setback. Typically, we've not really looked at approvals when it's along a road, but anytime they're changing a property line, we will make a consideration of those variances.
All right. Chair will entertain a motion to refer to staff for signatures with a variance for the 3 existing shed and pole barn buildings.
So moved. It's Billy.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Tommy Ballard.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, ma'am.
Did I have Tommy Ballard and Billy Thedford on that?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thedford.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next item.
Myself, yes.
Pardon me, Teresa.
I said myself, yes.
Okay, I cut you out in the middle of that. Number 5, Kevin Moore, final plat, Meter subdivision.
Same thing on this one, just some minor corrections of things that needed to be taken out and the building setback shown. That has been done on the final plat. So this would be pending signatures.
Chair will entertain a motion to refer to staff for signatures.
Motion to approve, Tommy Snyder.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Billy Thetford.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thedford,
Yes, ma'am.
myself, yes.
Next item up will be, let's see, number 6, Mario Leal, final plat, Meter subdivision.
Okay, this was the original that was submitted. There were some minor corrections, pretty much the same on each one of these. That has been made. We'll zoom in here so you can see a little bit better. They are proposing a private road going back to this lot right here. That's how this lot will be served. That is measuring out to be, this says 21.9 feet to the corner of this structure, but the easement itself is actually 25 feet wide.
So they have
You probably need a variance on with that single wide, wouldn't you, Chad? Because it's 21.9 feet.
Well, we could do that just for the existing only, but if they were to replace it, we'd want it to comply with the setbacks.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So actually on this, we need to consider it would be a front setback for both of these because the front setback would come off of the easement itself. So it'd be a 25-foot front setback off of the easement, and this one's into it a little bit. So really you're talking about pretty much a 25-foot setback variance for the existing structures only, with the intention of if they're replaced, they would have to be moved further back to comply.
if they replace them, they're going to have to put them on the other side of the septic system. So they're definitely going to meet their setbacks.
That's correct.
All right, so we've got a variance for the 2 existing structures. Setback variance for the 2 existing structures. Do we need to note that if the existing structures are replaced, that the variance does not continue on?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Teresa, if you.
I'll make that change on the plat also.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Teresa, if you'll note in there that the variance is for the 2 existing single wide residences. And I have looked at this and looked at this and looked at this and just now found it located on lot 2B. But also note in there that the variances are only for the existing residences.
And then located on lot 2B.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You refer to staff for signatures with that being noted.
Okay.
I have a motion.
Move, Tommy Snyder.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Tommy Ballard.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, ma'am.
Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thedford,
Yes, ma'am.
myself, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. I bet my eyes went in circles around that center lot for 45 seconds before I ever noticed that big 2B right in the middle of it. Kind of embarrassing. Number 7, Leon Sneed, final plat, Doc Smith surveying.
There were no changes to note on this plat, so I'd recommend approval pending signatures.
Chair will entertain a motion to refer to staff for signatures.
So moved, Tommy Ballard.
Do I have a second?
Second, Tommy Snyder.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, ma'am.
Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thedford,
Yes, ma'am.
myself, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Number 8, Barbara Brady, final plat, Doc Smith surveying.
There were only a couple of minor corrections to make on this. James has made those. So this is what the final plat looks like. No other corrections to be made, so recommend approval pending signatures.
Motion to approve, Tommy
I
Snyder.
have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Tommy Ballard.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, ma'am.
Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thedford. Billy,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, myself, yes.
Thank you. Next item, Barbara Brady, final plat, Doc Smith surveying.
Are we not on
This one
Tim
we-
Wyatt? We just
Is
did
that
Barbara
who we
Brady.
just did?
Yeah, we just didn't finish it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Tim White Estates, final plat. I forgot to print the thing. I've got nothing I can mark it with.
I'm doing the screen and I got my paper copy here I'm writing on, so the only way I'm keeping up with it. On this one, there was 2 corrections to note. The original was this portion up here. Your regulations call for any flag lot over 40,000 square feet to have a 50-foot wide flag stem. There's also a property line that crosses the bottom of these parcels right here that needed to be shown. It's going to be abandoned by this plat. So both of those have been fixed on this. I didn't find any other issues with it and would recommend approval pending signatures.
Chair will entertain a motion to refer to staff for signatures.
So moved, Tommy Ballard.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Tommy Snyder.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, ma'am.
Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thedford,
Yes, ma'am.
myself, yes.
Next item is Charles Thompson, final plat, Doc Smith surveying.
Okay, this one has a couple of things to look at here. We'd asked for them to show the approximate locations of the septic system on lot 1. I didn't know the width of this private road right here on that plat, and I asked for the existing septic system to be shown on this one. Then they're also subdividing out a 3rd lot over here. This was the corrected plat that's being shown. It's a 40-foot wide private drive. Since it's not serving any other lots than that major lot in the back, then it's not really being considered as a part of this one. You just had to have at least 25 feet for 2 or less lots, so that exceeds that. They would be requesting a variance off of this easement for whatever the structure is listed as A and the structure listed as B on parcel 1. Other than those 2 variances, it looks like all we need are signatures on the final plat. And he's listed out here too exactly what the variance request would be on both of those.
All right. Chair will entertain a motion to refer to staff for signatures with a variance of, thank you, 23.5 feet for existing structure, A on lot 1. Tell me when you're ready. I'll read the other one out, Ms. Teresa.
Okay.
and a variance of 11.5 feet for structure B on lot 1.
And the same thing with the previous plat. This is just for the existing structures that have to comply if replaced.
Please note that in the motion as well, Ms. Teresa.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. I was still typing.
This is for the existing structures only.
Okay.
In other words, if they're replaced, their variances don't count. They got to meet the proper setback.
Existing for existing structures. Only. Okay. All right. Good.
All right. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Tommy Ballard.
Do I have a second?
Second, Billy Thetford.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, ma'am.
Okay. Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thetford,
Yes, ma'am.
myself, yes.
All right. Number 11, Pinnacle Subdivision Preliminary Plat Doc Smith Survey.
I may need James's help on a few of these things to ask about. We talked about this. It's been several years ago. If you remember, they came to the Planning Commission one evening. It was something we just talked about in our new business. They were looking at options for subdividing this property. So what they have shown here on the plat is a 50-foot wide easement, which is all that's required. Well, it's a right of way on this plat, serving each of these lots. The plat shows there to be a water line. When you zoom in, you can actually see it on here. James, is that an existing water line or proposed? I never did find it noted anywhere.
It's existing.
Okay, so it's existing. So they're also proposing to add to that existing water line 2 fire hydrants. And I did measure these do seem to be in compliance with the requirements of your regulations. There were a few other minor changes to note on the plat. All of those things have been noted here. Whoop. There we go. So for this right here, this is just a preliminary plat at this point. So what we would want to see is before they do the final, either the fire hydrants would have to be installed or, let's see, you would not allow any utilities. So the fire hydrants have to be installed before the final plat comes back to us. But as far as the layout goes, I didn't see any issues with these. They're just at the minimum lot width on each one of them at 100 feet. At the building setback line, there is an existing house that you see shown there on one of those lots. But other than that, I didn't see any issues with this. So really, it's just pending those 2 fire hydrants to be installed before they come back with the final plat.
Okay, what kind of motion do you want on this?
Well, on this one, since it is a preliminary, we could just approve it as presented, and we'll just check for these 2 things when it comes back for a final.
All right, Chair will entertain a motion to accept as presented, and notification has been made of the 2 fire hydrants have to be installed before final plat comes back.
So moved, it's Billy.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Tommy Ballard.
We'll let Miss Teresa get caught up. Roll call vote whenever you're ready, Miss Teresa.
Okay. Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thetford, Billy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Myself, yes.
Item number 12, Eden of the Lake lots 172 and 173, lot line adjustment, final plat, Doc Smith surveying.
This one I just received today. Teresa had reached out to me on behalf of another realtor and client that she was trying to help out on this. They were wanting to make a change. They're wanting to make a change to the lot line. You can see the original lot line kind of crosses in this general area right here. So they're just kind of shifting it around to where they're moving the back portion up here a little bit to the north. And then they're moving this line a little bit to the south. So they're just readjusting between these 2 property owners. As far as signature blocks go, it has everything that it needs on here. So unless there's anything, James, that you needed to add, or Teresa, either one.
That corner of the house sticks over a little bit on 173A.
Well, since we're not changing this property line, I don't see any reason for us to take that up. Usually we only do that if a property line is being set next to something that we're doing. But if there's an issue with that, if a title company were to take issue with that, I mean, we can certainly consider that while we're looking at it here.
They would probably just make that an exception to their coverage, a title company, to their title insurance.
Well, it's existing. They can't change it. It's some more that nobody ever pulled a string and said what setbacks was, stuff that's happened in our history. And Teresa, is there a mortgage situation that's involved in this changing of property lines and stuff?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Is there a mortgage involved in this changing?
Oh, I really have no knowledge about any of it or any of the people. I just had another agent reach out to me and ask for some direction. So I kind of sent him to Chad.
Chair will entertain a motion to refer to staff for signatures.
Motion to approve, Tommy Snyder.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Tommy Ballard.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, ma'am.
Okay, Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thedford,
Yes, ma'am.
myself, yes.
Do we have any other properly presented new business? Seeing none, we'll go into old business. Item number 1, Blue Sky Subdivision, Mark Johnson, preliminary plat, Doc Smith survey.
We'll just have to resubmit it next month. He still hasn't done his paving yet.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to deny for lack of representation, can be resubmitted next month.
So moved, Tommy Snyder.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second, Tommy Ballard.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, ma'am.
Okay, Jim Reed,
Yes, ma'am.
Tommy Ballard,
Yes.
Tommy Snyder,
Yes.
Billy Thedford,
Yes, ma'am.
myself, yes.
James, please explain to him that that's just our way of dealing with the fact that it won't linger on, and we'll just resubmit it. No, there's no issue on our behalf.
No, it's not an issue.
So do we have any other properly presented old business? Folks, let me say this, James is probably the only surveyor we still have here. I didn't think about it till just now, but Chad will make it aware. When we go back into we still have Christian. When we go back into our regular meetings, we're going to get 1 month, because it's going to be short notice of whether we're going to be in person or not. You're going to get 1 month to refer to staff for signature stuff. We're going to go back to our rules the way they were. Chad might kill me for what I just said, and Teresa might kill me for what I just said, but it's going to be short notice on whether we're going to be able to meet in person or not. So we will continue like we are through that first in-person meeting, okay? Anybody else have anything for us before we entertain a motion to adjourn?
And you mean by that, we are or we're not going to meet in person next month, or we still just don't know?
We're 50-50 on whether we're going to meet in person.
Okay.
If our room gets done, we will meet in person. It'll be in the same room we was in. You just walk into the room through a different door. So we don't know.
Question for you. When you say we're going back to the regular, that's all signatures on plats when it comes to the planning commission.
That's right.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
And like I say, there are extenuating circumstances, Christian, that comes up, and there are instances where things just have to be the way they are. Prime example, like, I don't know if anybody else here knew, but I did not know Shane was not going to be here tonight. So if it had been an in-person meeting, Shane hadn't have been there, we're not going to knock somebody out for 30 days because of Shane wasn't there to sign it that night. But it'll be a much stricter set of rules. back like we had it enforced before. Chad,
My only concern is the health department. Would there be any way on that? Because that can take 2 or 3 months.
I'm gonna tell you right now, straight up, can't do anything with the health department. I am missing a little bit of backside today, literally off of the health department, and that's the state of Tennessee. And I've gone to our state representative, I've gone to our state senator. Both of them have tried to help the situation, and you all know what kind of wide open building is going on, and it's worse now than it was. I don't know what to do. We've got one person covering about 6 different little areas, and it is killing him, I know, but it is driving our builders and our homeowners crazy trying to get anything done.
James is correct. I mean, and you're correct also. They're doing all they can. Also, there's less people in environmental health than there are surveyors, and there's probably no surveyors in this area too. James can say that too. We're getting killed on our end too. But I would agree with James on that. The only thing I would ask for is that environmental health approval, pending that environmental health, and it goes staff approval with Teresa at that point.
You know, and like I say, the whole point of why we did this is because we ended up with surveyors who brought their stuff corrected 30 seconds before the meeting started. And it got to be where nothing was ever signed. And of course, they don't run me to pieces like they do Teresa, because there's a lot more going on in the south end than there is in the north end. But I mean, it got to the point where it was a little aggravating. Give me just a second. Old number 7 is coming through here. Folks, whatever you do, never have an office or a business that's in between 2 railroad crossings that's less than 100 yards apart. That was not real good on our part. But anyway, it is aggravating for everybody. I had a gentleman tell me this week that it is taking up to 6 weeks in some instances to get to cover your septic system back up. To get your paperwork signed is taking weeks. Ray County is working on some options. We actually were working on these options with our building inspector and the county commission was, and there was a meeting scheduled when COVID shut everything down from the in-person meetings. So that has started back in the process of trying to figure out some sort of way to ease the stress and the tension with the subsoil surface work that has to be done, even on the county level. But now remember, before we can do anything, we have to have the proper people and all the proper educational part in there. We have to have approval from TDEC. We have to have approval from the state. This is not something that's going to happen very, very quickly at all. It's going to be a drawn out process. But we do see the need.
Sounds like you're initiating a in-county septic permit process.
We are looking into what is needed to make that happen. That is correct, sir. And I hate that Chad puts this out over YouTube Live, but I mean, some things you just kind of want to get a little more into the process. But just to be honest, that is what we're looking at doing. And it may take 6 months, it may take a year, it may take 18 months to get to the point where we can actually do that. But you know, Hamilton County is actually doing that process as we speak.
I think it's a great idea. I think McMinn County also needs to do that.
You know, and here's the problem that we have to remember is, I think that the gentleman is overwhelmed with the amount of work that's there, because you have the new stuff, you have the existing stuff, you have the repaired stuff. There's a lot of things that fall under their purview. And I think that you have to take in consideration, there's a lot of travel involved in a lot of that too. So I think they're overwhelmed, and I was hoping that the state would be willing to put consideration of putting more people into into that office, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon.
Seems like it's less.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate you, gentlemen. Thank y'all for everything.
Yes, sir. Anybody else have anything? Chad?
No, sir. Nothing else.
Folks, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Miss Teresa, I hope your puppy dog gets to feeling better. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Tommy Ballard.
There we go. Y'all have a good night. See you. Bye-bye.